Some of you believe your system is the most advanced in the universe. Let's review the numbers. Sega Genesis is 16 bits. 3DO is 32 bits. The Atari Jaguar is 64 bits. Which is more advanced? Clifford! With 64 bits, 3D graphics, real-world animation, and lightning speed that you can only get with Jaguar. Which is more advanced? Clifford!
Can you repeat the question?
Jaguar! Jaguar! Jaguar!
Rise from your grave.
How about that? Yeah.
Have you heard all the bad things about the Atari Jaguar? Have you heard that it doesn't have very many good games? In fact, you might have even heard that it doesn't have any good games. But I'm here today to tell you that there are some really good games on the Atari Jaguar. I had it back on launch. I've just recently was able to recollect it, and I've got some of the games that I used to have on it, and I'm going to show you today that there are actually 5 good Atari Jaguar games worth playing today. And the first game that we're going to look at today is a very overlooked racing game on the Atari Jaguar, and it is Super Burnout. If you like arcade motorcycle racing games with super scaling in it, this game's for you. So let's take a look at Super Burnout. I really feel that Super Burnout on the Atari Jaguar is a hidden gem. It's underrated for sure. It's a arcade motorcycle racing game, and it takes a lot of inspiration from several arcade motorcycle racing games, and of course you probably see that it has taken inspiration from Sega's Super Hang-On. This game is really great. It's an excellent 3D sprite scaling racing game, and the frame rate is fast. It's very, very fun, and what they do, one of the things that I haven't seen another game do, but you can see that rubber mark on the road. If you stick to that rubber mark, that kind of tells you where you need to be to make the upcoming turns. Now, it's not perfect because you can still wreck and run off the road, but it does kind of give you a little bit of a guide, and I believe you can turn that off in the options. But this game is a blast. You can see the graphics are amazing. The sound is great, good soundtrack, sound effects are excellent, and just check out that moon in the background. I mean, that's amazing. There's several different tracks to race on. You can choose different bikes that have different strengths and weaknesses that are faster. Some of them are faster but harder to handle. So there's a lot of variety. You can race one race at a time, or you can go for the championship and race all of the races. So Super Burnout, I highly recommend it if you have a Atari Jaguar. This is one of those games that you don't want to miss out on. It's just a blast to play, and I've really had fun with it. The next game we're going to look at is one of the definitive ways to play this game. The game that we're going to look at is Uncensored. It's an awesome game, and it was one of the very first-person shooters to get really popular, and that is Wolfenstein 3D. So let's take a quick look at Wolfenstein 3D. So playing Wolfenstein 3D on the Atari Jaguar is a great way to play it. Of course, this is one of those games that was an early first-person shooter that really helped take the genre to a different level, and playing it on the Atari Jaguar is kind of like playing the original game with parts of the expansion pack as well. Everything is here, and it's just a blast. The frame rate is great. The sound effects and soundtrack are excellent. You can pick up several different weapons. There's treasure to collect. You got health that you can collect, and ammo, of course. And you can really see, what inspired Doom and the next step that Doom took by playing this game. And I'll just be honest with you, I didn't know if I would like Wolfenstein 3D because I started kind of on Doom as my first-person shooter that I had played. But playing this on the Jaguar is addictive. I love it. It's a great game, and it really does have one of the better 3D maps. So when you pull hit your 8 key on your controller, you can pull that map up, and it's easy to read. I like it better than Doom's map. But so anyway, if you have an Atari Jaguar, man, this game is almost a must-own. It's an excellent way to play Wolfenstein 3D, so I highly recommend it. The next game that we're going to take a look at is one of my favorite games on the system. I had it back in the day, of course, and it is a excellent game, and in my opinion is one of the best retro mech games that you could play. And that is, of course, Iron Soldier. Iron Soldier is amazing. It's a great game, a lot of fun, there's a lot to do in it, and it's challenging but yet really entertaining and fun. So let's take a quick look at Iron Soldier. Developed by Eclipse Software and published by Atari, 1994 saw the release of Iron Soldier. This is a great mech game, and it's really one of my favorite games on the system, and the only place you can play the first Iron Soldier is on the Atari Jaguar. They did a lot of things right on this game. It's just really cool. You really do feel like you're in a 40-foot mech, and you're walking around a city, and you can destroy everything. Everything is destructible. So when you start the game, you'll have your choice of the first 4 missions, and you can choose those in any order you want. And you'll get your mission. You know, the very first mission is basically go in and destroy these certain buildings, and it's really easy to follow. And then, of course, before you start your mission, you can equip your mech. You start out with just the chain gun or a machine gun, and then you can also use your fist. And when it comes to fighting your enemies, your chain gun and your machine gun, of course, is going to be better. You're going to fight several different types of enemies, even other mechs at certain points in the game, and those mechs are tough. But this game is not cheap. You know, it's not... it can be difficult, but it's not cheap. There is strategy involved in this game, and yeah, it's just a blast. You're going to come across crates that will have new weapons that you can pick up. Right there's a new weapon, so when I pick that up, I will have the grenades available for me on my next mission, so I can equip them. You can destroy buildings and find repair kits that repair your mech. You can also find, of course, ammo for your guns as well. And yeah, it's just a blast. I highly recommend Iron Soldier on the Atari Jaguar. One of my favorite games on the system. And the next game that I'm going to tell you about will not need much of an introduction. It also is a first-person shooter, and it took that genre to the next level. It was one of the most popular games, well, it is one of the most popular games in the world. And of course that game is Doom for the Atari Jaguar. This is an excellent port of Doom, and I'm going to tell you why. So let's take a quick look at Doom on the Atari Jaguar. The very first time I played Doom and played a first-person shooter was on my Atari Jaguar back in the day. I'm really glad that I picked up this game when I did back in the day. It is very well done, and it is actually the source that other console ports were based on. The 32X version was released a few days before the Jaguar version, but they took that version from this. It's the same, you know, port. Of course, the Jaguar handles it better. The frame rate's great. The lighting is fantastic. It's at a higher resolution than the 32X version. And you can even see when you play Doom on the PlayStation 1, which is a great port of Doom, it's this game. It's not the PC game, it's this game. I mean, it follows what the PC does, but everything that was designed here was designed for the Atari Jaguar, and that's what the original PlayStation Doom was based off as well. This is a great game, just fantastic. If you love Doom, you can't go wrong playing Doom on the Atari Jaguar. The insert also, I said a little bit about that, but that slides over your controller. You don't have to cycle through your weapons on this console port. This is the only console port that you don't have to do that. You can reach down and tap whatever key that's associated with that weapon and switch it right away, and you know how good that is if you play Doom. That's a very cool thing to have. Of course, the map, everything really is here. There are a few monsters that did not make this port, but man, if you're going to play Doom on a big CRT or a CRT on a home console, you cannot go wrong with the Jaguar version. So if you have a Jaguar, man, do yourself a favor and get Doom and give it a try. And finally, this game that I'm going to show you, the only way to play this game is on the Atari Jaguar. It was said to have had a sequel on other platforms. It doesn't. This is the only way to play this game in this form. It's a system exclusive, and in my opinion, if there was a killer app for the Atari Jaguar, this would be it. I got this back in the day and just loved the game, and so let's take a quick look at Alien vs. Predator on the Atari Jaguar. October 21st, 1994 saw the release of Alien vs. Predator. It was developed by Rebellion Developments and published by Atari. This is one of my favorite video games of all time, one of my favorite Atari Jaguar games, and it really is the killer app. So first of all, you can play as the Alien, which has different abilities. You can play as the Predator, you'll have different abilities, or you can play as the Marine. And playing as the Marine is the hardest character to choose in this game. But I love playing as the Marine. This game will kind of put you into just a very isolated feeling, and there's no music to the game, and actually I like that. It has a creepier feel without that music. You can hear kind of the machinery in the background. It's just very spooky. And so you can also change how dark you want your HUD. You can save your game at any point. Now when you save your game, you do keep all the weapons and ammo that you found, but the monsters respawn, so you have to do that wisely. And you also have a map. If you hit your 8 key on your controller, it'll bring up your map. And then there are also these computer terminals throughout the game, and you can actually access the computer and then check the level schematic. It'll give you a schematic of, you know, all the levels where they're at, and it also gives you hints on where to go next and how to succeed at your mission, basically. But it gives you some hints. This game has legitimate jump scares in it. It's amazing. And you know, if you bought a Atari Jaguar just to play Alien vs. Predator, yeah, that's worth it. It really is. I mean, it's awesome. So the game also has these air vents, and that's kind of how you traverse into different levels. So, you know, you can get in the elevator, but you can also take an air vent, and oftentimes taking that air vent will get you to some, you know, like your next weapon or some different ammo, parts of the base that you can't reach. So, but anyway, Alien vs. Predator, one of the best games on the Atari Jaguar. Hey, thank you for watching today. Thank you for taking time out of your day to watch this video, and if you made it to the end, thank you very much. One of the final things that I'm going to say is the Atari Jaguar controller has gotten a bad reputation as well. And I just want to tell you that I love this controller. It's a great controller, and it works very well with all the games that I showed you today. There are inserts that fit over your number pad. that tell you what keys do what. And of course, like in Doom, you have, you know, your chain gun, all your different weapons assigned to one key, so you can swap those guns out, those weapons out easily without cycling through. So anyway, I'm just going to drop that in at the end because I know that the controller has a bad reputation as well, and I honestly feel like people that hate on it probably have never used it. So yeah, tell me in the comments, do you guys have a Atari Jaguar? If you do, what are some of your memories with the Atari Jaguar? Have you never seen one? Never played one? Let me know in the comments. So thank you very much for taking time out of your day, and I hope you have a safe rest of your day.